Okay, we're live. It's been so long. I don't remember how to do this anymore.
I mean, we did have a episode. I guess it was, yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
We had the year in review after a long break. So we've done like one episode in the past 2 months or 3 months or something.
It's the kind of consistency that our viewers ask for.
And it wasn't even a real episode because it was just a year in review.
We're like that uncle you only see like twice a year. And you're not really sure what he does or where he goes or where he lives, but he shows up sometimes.
He's there sometimes.
Yeah.
And he can never explain what he does either. He just always seems to be busy, but he doesn't know what he's doing.
And your mom hates him, but now but we are back. Hopefully we'll be a little more consistent in these coming weeks.
Well, we would have been consistent because we would have just missed 1 week because my parents were coming down, but then they had to be exposed to COVID and like, oh, well, next weekend will be enough time away. So we'll come then.
The big C.
Yep.
I'll do it.
Yep. So what have you been up to today, Coop?
Pretty lazy Sunday. Not gonna lie. Did some chores, exercised a bit. Beyond that, just mostly chillaxed. Took it easy. What about yourself, Sam?
Oh, I folded laundry, did dishes, making dinner for the week.
Sunday prep night.
Yep, that'll be done at 10.
What's on the dinner menu for this week?
It's I think it's called Caribbean chicken. I can't remember exactly.
Like jerk chicken.
It's sweet potatoes on the bottom of the pressure cooker in crock pot mode with orange juice and chicken broth poured over it, and then you put the chicken on top of that, and then you blend garlic, jalapenos. I say jalapenos. The recipe calls for one, but that's stupid. I'm blending multiple. Cumin. What was the other spice? Thyme. And then a little bit of olive oil. You blend that up and pour that over the top, and then you slow cook it for 8 hours. It comes out pretty good. And then you serve it over rice with a mango avocado salsa, which is just mangoes and avocados cubed with lime juice on it. But it tastes really good. And
that sounds pretty good.
Mangoes and avocados were on sale this week, so I went for that. And they didn't have my curry powder, so I couldn't make what I actually wanted to make. Or they didn't have my curry paste. They always have the green curry paste. They've got like hundreds of jars of the green curry paste. Never have any of the red.
You have to go to like a Asian supermarket for that.
Yeah, but the only one we have here is more focused on like East Asia. So they don't have as many of those kind of things, sadly.
That's fair.
Like I went there looking for curry powder, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got bulk spices, but turns out the English made curry powder, so obviously they didn't have it. Because I don't think they have much Indian food at the one that's in Bloomington, sadly.
It's a dang shame.
It is, but they did have dashi and what was the other thing I went there looking for? Tapioca flour.
Tapioca. Oh yeah. I've used that before.
Although I guess tapioca they sell that at the grocery store too. But this was much cheaper. And I was already there looking for the curry powder, so I'm like, I'll pick this up while I'm here. Because I always feel awkward going into places like where I'm looking for just one thing and they don't have it. So it's like, well, I guess I'm just leaving empty-handed now. I've been in here for 15 minutes looking, but
hey, stop! You gotta buy something.
I'm like, I feel I might as well get something because I feel like I look sketch otherwise, like I'm still.
Like they're gonna be like, hey, we gotta search you, and you're like, oh no, things fell in my pockets, I didn't realize.
Well, there's nothing, but it's just I always feel awkward. And plus, the issue with the one near me is nothing's where you think it should be. So like spices are spread out a little bit across different sections, and it just doesn't make much sense to me.
The trick is to be an eye line of one of the workers there, and then like when you can't find what you're looking for, just exaggeratedly like throw your hands in the air and go, Dang. Ah, well, I'll look somewhere else, and then you walk out the door. And then they know. That's why you're not buying anything.
Well, no, I that's why I'm in there for 15 minutes, is because I'm looking. I'm really trying to find it.
You're just communicating that.
Yeah, like the dashi. I was about to leave until I found it. It was with like the pickled fish and shit. I'm like, why is this here? I mean, I guess it's got fish in it, but not why isn't it with the soup things, right? You may use it to make soup. What else are you using it for?
Yeah. I'm not the one who wrenches the grocery stores.
Yeah. And then I folded some laundry. Probably ate too much.
I had a little bit of a tummy ache today because
me as well.
I made some noodles. What was it called? I just made it and I can't remember what it's called. Whatever. It was like this noodle dish. And I had a bunch of it with some shrimp, and my tummy was all upset afterwards.
See, mine was upset because I think the eggs I had were a bit old. My dinner for the week's not going to be done till 10, and obviously I was really hungry. I kept snacking on sweets and stuff. I'm like, I need to eat some real food before I eat too many sweets. And I made ramen with a couple eggs in it, but the eggs were old. I think they might have just been about to start turning. I kind of.
You do the water test?
Yeah, I did. I did the water test when I made the pretzels yesterday, so I knew they were still good.
Oh, it was yakisoba. That was it.
Oh, okay. But they're just on the edge, I think. And my tummy was a little upset.
My tummy was a little. When your tummy hurts a little too much for a little too long.
Mm-hmm. And I'm changing my mind, I think, about taking those pretzels I bake to work, because I don't really want to use the microwave that's probably never been cleaned, and everybody microwaves their stuff in every day. So
I mean, you're putting it on a plate, I assume, in the microwave.
Yeah, but still, like, there's I don't know what your experience was at home, Cooper, but my dad and sister have a terrible habit of whenever they microwave anything, right? And they use a microwave cover, they put the microwave cover right back in the instant they take their plate out, upside down, or like, so it's trapping air, and it traps so much moisture and like food particles and shit in there. And there's no microwave cover at work. So when somebody microwaves something, anything that pops or sizzles just goes into the microwave.
Straight to the ceiling.
And I doubt it gets cleaned very often. And
You're gonna have
we
to
already have mold issues
pretzels.
in places there shouldn't be mold, or you wouldn't expect there to be mold. So I don't exactly trust it.
You're just gonna have to be eating cold pretzels.
I think I'll just have it at home, probably. Maybe I will have it cold. The issue is the cheese dip. The cheese dip's just a bit too solid if it's not warmed up.
True, cheese dip doesn't exactly is not as good to cold.
No, it's not. It's not like the nacho pump cheese dip that you get from those dispensers. It's a bit more cheesy than that. It has actual cheese in it instead of cheese product. Although it does have cheese product in it as well, with the generic brand Velveeta from Kroger.
Give me some of that cheese product.
It blows my mind that I don't have to refrigerate it. You just put it in the cupboard. It's fine.
Modern technology.
Yeah,
does wonders.
It's something. I don't know what it. The first ingredient's milk, so I don't feel too bad about it. But still, it's like, how is that shelf stable for as long as it is?
The food scientists, man, they figured it out.
Yeah. Still doesn't feel good for you.
Well, I mean, it's chock full of preservatives.
Yeah.
But hey, so you want to jump into this album?
Sure. Just to, I guess I'll give a preface before we get into the actual review part of it.
A preface?
Yeah, preface. Well, fuck you. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop Podcast. This week, we're discussing Dawn FM by The Weeknd.
Yes.
It has been a hot second. We're on track for, what is it? This is the first episode, and it's the end of January.
Hey, we got our January episode in.
Yep. So we've got the opportunity for like 49 total shows this year at this point. And I can already tell you probably subtract another 5 at least off of that number.
I mean, I'm going to be surprised if we hit more than 40.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know where the wind blows.
Yeah. Dawn FM. When did this come out, Cooper?
This album dropped very recently. It was January 7th.
Okay.
So it's about less than a month.
Weeks. Yeah.
So it's a hot, fresh new album by the artist The Weeknd.
Not to be confused with Vampire Weekend.
No, they were very different bands. AKA Abel Tesfaye, born 1990. He is a Canadian man who has received numerous accolades for his musical career, Grammys, Billboard Awards, etc., etc. Kind of came onto the scene with maybe the start of his like superstardom was "I Can't Feel My Face." You remember that song?
Yeah,
I can't feel my face.
I didn't realize that was The Weeknd.
That was The Weeknd.
That's a much older song, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean he's been active for a while.
Because when I think of Hot Weekend songs, I think of what was that most
Blinding Lights?
Yeah, Blinding Lights.
Yeah, that was from The Weeknd's most recent album, besides this one, which was After Hours.
Which, honestly, still a banger. Still love it.
That was the best song of that album. And we actually did review that album.
We did. My favorite version of it is the Seth Everman version, where he transitions it into Take On Me.
It does have the same kind of chord progression going on.
Yeah.
This is his Dawn FM is his 5th studio album. And it's actually he's kind of said it's like he's considering it the second in a trilogy of albums. The first being After Hours, and this being the second, with a very 80s tinge electro vibe going for it. And it features some guest vocals from Tyler the Creator, Lil Wayne, some heavy features from Jim Carrey of all people.
I thought that voice sounded familiar. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, when I first listened to it, when it first came out, I was like, why is this ringing bells? Who is this narrator?
Yeah.
And I looked up and it was Jim Carrey. So there you go. The Grinch himself.
I just chalked it up to, I've listened to a lot of radio, and it just sounds like a generic radio host.
When you really listen to it, you're like, okay, this is definitely Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking for it, he kind of blends in quite well. With a major amount of the production going to, of course, The Weeknd and One Oak Tricks Point Never, which is kind of a producer that's been working with The Weeknd. And it's a concept album, Sam. It's a concept kind of playing with the idea of like purgatory almost being like this radio station.
It's a half concept album.
I'd say it leans into pretty hard.
It does until it forgets about it.
We'll get into the review. And then so this is this album's done pretty good on the Billboard Top 100. And it's his latest release. Like I said, he'll probably have another album of this that kind of closes out the trilogy, but we can get right into it, Sam, with track number 1, Dawn FM.
Yeah, so just a little preface from me. I woke up and chose violence today, apparently, so I apologize for any Weeknd fans. But I did not hold back. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure what you have to hold back against. I mean, I'll play my cards. I think this is a pretty good album.
Well, we'll agree to disagree then. Jumping into track number 1 then, Dawn FM. I like the Distorted Bird song. It starts off on a great foot.
Yeah, the beginning's got this kind of very moody atmospheric opener where it's like distant singing and very sci-fi synth and beautiful harmonies in the background. Like you're going to the light per se. Of course, then kind of stringing into Jim Carrey playing the Dawn FM radio jockey. Yeah. But not so subtle hints at it being kind of like some sort of purgatory afterlife type of situation.
It felt much more dystopian to me than that. Just the tone. that it's delivered in. It doesn't
Jim
sound
Carrey's
like
still...
you're waiting to go to heaven. It sounds like, oh, you're going to hell, but listen to this first.
Yeah, it's slightly like Jim Carrey has a very like smooth, but like almost like over enunciated delivery.
Well, there's some weird phasing and stuff that they do as well, with some like wake up in the background and stuff like that. It's not aggressive.
It's got like a little edge to it underneath the surface.
Yeah. But it's got some fun when there is the music and not the DJ jockey. There's some fun chord progression, different unique things that pop out, which make it really nice. But it's kind of just half a song because it's
a mood setter. It's like a transitionary song.
Yeah.
Before going into the first main song of the album, and one of the lead singles, track number 2, "Gasoline."
Well, that's unfortunate.
Just kind of this new wave synth track that kind of balances on like this kind of sparse instrumentation that is almost going for this like creepy electro 80s dance floor vibe.
Yeah, so for me the album, starts off on a really good foot, puts its best foot forward, and then immediately face plants and knocks its teeth out. It's got a terrible accent with really bad auto-tune. And then they add in like an octave higher vocal line that just makes it even worse.
It's a deadpan delivery, and it's obvious autotune. I'm not going to say bad autotune. Just because it's apparent doesn't mean it's bad.
No, I agree. There's good autotune. I mean, most of the songs in this album, The Weeknd autotunes himself, and that's fine. It fits the style, but this one specifically with the accent, it just does not sound good.
I'm not going to say it's more of like delivery. It's kind of a little more deadpan. I don't know. I kind of like the vocal differentiation it has between the verse and the chorus, where the chorus is a lot more of his traditional falsetto-ish delivery, and the verse itself is more of almost like a deadpan delivery.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna crucify him for trying new things. It's just this one new thing he tried was bad.
I don't think so.
No, that's why we have opinions, Cooper.
Well, you're saying I was wrong, but I'm right, so you must be wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think it's bad. And going
I can understand it being like the emotional like list delivery on the verse is pretty jarring, especially compared to his like past work.
Not even comparing it to that, just on the ear. It's it's like nails on a chalkboard for me.
You don't listen to a lot of slam poetry, do you?
No, I can't say that I do. And additionally, going from the previous track to this one's pretty disappointing instrumentally. It's really, really thin. The drum pad is doing most of the lifting in this one, with the vocals, which, as I said, I very much dislike the vocals, so there is no lifting being done by that. I mean, it builds as time goes on, to his credit, and it's, the backing track is somewhat decent by the 2-minute mark, but it starts really, really thin with those bad vocals, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with the thinness of it. The instrumentation is pretty sparse throughout it.
And that can be said for
but like I said, I think it kind of pairs well with the vocals. I mean, obviously, it's going for a creepier vibe. That kind of enunciates the more, I guess, heightened parts where like there's some stacked vocals. But yeah, that drum pad kind of carries the whole weight of the song. I don't know. I think it leads to an interesting feeling of the song. Like I said, almost like a creepy dance floor vibe.
We'll agree to disagree. Those vocals just really rub me the wrong way.
You're going to be saying that a lot throughout this review. I got a feeling you are.
I think you're right, Cooper. Speaking of disagreeing, let's jump to track number 3. How Do I Make You Love Me?
Yeah, How Do I Make You Love Me, which is obviously the whole album's going to be keeping this kind of 80s electro vibe. And this one has more of a, I guess, whirling synth background. And none of the deadpan delivery. That's only on Gasoline.
Yeah, no, just back to the same 8 notes that he sings for the entirety of the album.
I mean, the man's got range. In fact, I really like the vocal line on this song.
Enough. He is very monotone in his delivery in almost all of his songs.
Monotone.
Not monotone, but you know what I'm saying. He sticks to a very small range.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's a small range. It's a decent range. It's. He doesn't like go like down octaves like he's going What's the opposite of falsetto? Baritone.
Yeah, just
Bass.
falsettos. There's not really an opposite of falsetto because that'd be like false bass, and I don't think you can do that.
What is that? A scat man like Mr. Bass? Oh, dum. Like in those like barbershop quartets.
Yeah. But this one gives me some really heavy vaporwave vibes. You know, I can close my eyes while listening to this and see the pink and black grid flashing by in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, like it's very much those 80s vaporwave inspired, electro grid Tron backgrounds.
Yeah.
Going through your head, kind of like that blue and pinks.
Yeah, it was a real fun song up until 120. You know what I'm talking about? What happened at 120, Cooper?
The kind of weird like beat skip or whatever.
Yeah, where it sounds like they almost forgot to put any instruments in, or they tried to do a fade out and drastically failed.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were going for there.
And then it happens again at 220, so it's obviously a style choice.
Yeah, my first thought was like going for like a glitchy vibe, but it's like too subtle. Like both too subtle and too obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just sounds like they forgot to put any instruments. It's like all the loops reset at the same time.
Maybe they're going for some sort of like disconcerting or like discombobulating vibe there. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with
it. Just sounds like crappy editing to me. That it instantly made me not like the song.
I imagine it's pretty. It was intentional.
Yeah, but I mean, you can add the sound of somebody having diarrhea in a toilet to a song too, and that doesn't make it.
Why is it every time there's a bad aspect to your song, you're like, you can add bad thing to bad thing? That doesn't make it good.
Yeah, but just I mean, I get that he's trying to do things with it, but just because you don't get credit just because you try. Like, sure.
No, I'm not saying
I'm glad you're trying new things, but I'm still going to call you out if it's shit.
Oh no, I definitely don't know why they added in the song. I mean, I don't think it ruins the song. Yeah. It turns me up a bit, but I think the kind of fun instrumentation with the synth jumping around and the vocal lines is more than enough to make it a good song.
Yeah, well, the other part that killed it for me was adding a minute of the next song onto the end of this one.
Oh, I love that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's a minute and a half of drum pad and breathing.
Yeah, and the next song's called "Take My Breath," Sam. It's called "Thematic Time."
Yeah, but a minute and a half, Cooper. You're not exactly trying to fill time here. It's like, shit, we've got 29 minutes. We need another minute on this album. This is an hour-long album.
It is not a minute and a half.
53 minutes, whatever.
I like the way it ties the songs together, honestly.
Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that it ties it together. I just think it's too much padding.
I think it lets the songs breathe.
Yeah, we'll get to...
Such as in track number 4,
really
Take
doesn't
My
let
Breath.
Songs breathe later on, but we'll get to that.
Leads right into track number 4, Take My Breath, which is another lead single of the song. The single version of the song is significantly shorter because this one has a elongated intro with these kind of intercut vocals, this synth layering that slowly builds up. It's really a suspense-building intro.
Yeah, and it's the longest song on the album as well, at like 5.5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, by a significant amount.
And it's got some really nice bass. Love me that saw wave bass.
There's some good synth bass. It's maybe the most danceable song of the album in terms of like just having that solid bass line and that "Take My Breath," vocal hook in the chorus.
I don't know about most danceable, but it's certainly one of the better songs on the album. There's some fun vocal effects in there as well. It kind of sounds like Daft Punk inspired at some points. I don't know if you picked up, he tried to do that head orbiting effect with the ear shifting.
I did, yes.
But it was just a bit too fast for my taste. It kind of left me feeling a bit more dizzy than like in Sketches of Brunswick East, where they really just bring it around town slowly.
They do that album does like taking it slow, which is one of the reasons I love it.
Yeah, but I like the effect. It's just a tad too fast. Other people probably will be fine with it. Just left me a tiny bit dizzy. It's got a bit of
the song has some good effects.
Mystery Skulls vibe as well from the chorus, I thought.
I would agree on that, yes. Which I think Mystery Skulls also has a bit of the 80s DNA in them. Yeah. But yeah, this one's so far throughout the album, I've really been enjoying the production. Like they're not, it's not super overstated for the most part. a lot of these songs are like I'd say not sparse, but on the understated side. But I kind of like how the synth stylings pulls you through the album, and it almost has like this kind of synthy take on disco, almost.
I disagree with that, but
yeah, the disco dance floor vibe.
No, I didn't get any dance vibes whatsoever from this. I got kind of sleepy.
You did not get dance from this?
Not particularly. Most of them
driving beat, strong bass line, catchy hook on the chorus.
I was definitely wouldn't say this feels like the first proper song on the album for some reason for me. I don't know why. I was listening to it and I'm like, wow, this isn't actually a song. Maybe it's because I hated the first two.
Gasoline and How Do I Make You Love Me are both fine songs, I think.
No, well, that's your opinion. And then as soon as I wrote that, we got to the 3 synth notes and drum pad for a minute straight in the middle of the song at like 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, the little synth breakdown that they have.
Except it's not. There's nothing going on other than the same synth notes over and over.
Called building suspense, tension.
Okay.
And then it releases into the chorus again.
Yeah.
It also has that nice little vocal pairing of the bass line with the vocals.
Yeah, I like what they do during that break, but again, it's like he keeps doing these things that are fun in small doses, but then he holds the shots for too long. It's like you're watching a movie and like the character walks off screen and you expect the camera to turn to follow the character and it just holds on that shot of the empty screen for like 15 seconds and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then they finally move on. It feels like he's holding on to everything just a little bit too long.
Song earns it, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, in some of the back half of the songs, back half of the album, I'm in agreement there, and we'll get there when we get there. But I think this song kind of earns it with that kind of strong main hook, and then kind of the deconstructions and reconstructions. Plus, the ending has some like nice little flourishes added on for the final chorus.
Yeah.
That I think makes it feel like it built up to something. If it just had like ended, then I honestly think that'd been worse than if it had taken its time a little bit more.
Yeah, I still think you could probably cut about 30 seconds of drum pad, same 3 synth notes out of the middle there and be absolutely fine.
I mean, it is a 5.5 minute song. I will say
it's work on at 6.5 minutes. They stole a minute from the previous song too.
Thematic breathing.
Yeah, Cooper, it's drum pad and breathing for a minute straight.
Sam, I know how much you love breathing in your ear. It's your favorite
Honestly,
thing.
that wasn't my issue. It's the issue that it was a minute long. I'm like, is it going to end? What's going to happen? Like, I get that it ties in, but just move on. Come on.
If you don't like it, it's wasted space. If you do like it, you call it an extended outro.
Yeah, whatever. Jump into track number 5, Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. This one has I think the first song on the album that has like a really distinct like guitar groove on it, with that kind of very strong underlying guitar lick that it has throughout the entire song.
Yeah, I mean it does, but there's not much going on instrumentally besides that. I mean there is an instrumental backing, but there is no growth. The only thing that I heard change throughout the entirety of the song was there was some tambourine that came in the last 30 seconds.
I mean, I did definitely disagreeing with you on the instrumentation. I mean, the verses, yeah, they were a little bit sparse, but it builds up into the chorus and the bridge, where that kind of funky synth takes over and the vocal layerings go in.
I think the biggest issue was the guitar line being one bar repeating, which...
I mean, yeah, it's a repeating guitar line, but I mean, how many rock songs are based on that entire concept?
Oh, no, I'm not saying... I'm just saying the one bar, it gets real noticeable with the looping real quick. And the hard cut at the end, which was not very great. And he rhymed feelings with feelings, which I wasn't a fan of. So minus 10 points for that one.
That reminds me of, I think in Take My Breath, the opening lyric is something like, I saw your eyes, I saw the fire inside your eyes. Like, okay.
He does that. There's a lot of instances on this album where he rhymes the same word with the same word.
The actual lyrics on this album, I don't think are super great.
No, they're pretty bad.
And they get pretty horny in the back half.
And they're also 95% of them are the same. It's always he loses a girl and he wants her back. That's like every song.
A couple of them go in some interesting places, but I don't think like lyric writing is the Weeknd strong suit. It's more the production, the mood that the words carry. Speaking of which, going into track number 6, A Tale by Quincy.
Not much
which
of a
is
song.
Yeah, no, it's an interlude.
Better than
featuring
Biggie Smalls.
Man, you did not like that interlude.
No, that was just him flexing. That was so stupid.
This one's a spoken word passage by Quincy Jones, of all people. Famous jazz musician, producer of Michael Jackson's like best albums.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite sad. It's like him talking about how like the pain in his life has caused him to push the women away in his life.
Yeah.
But this kind of very understated, mellow, excellent guitar instrumentation behind him that I think adds to the mood.
Yeah. No, it's a good interlude. Little nitpick from my part. Maybe put a little bit of space and a pop filter between him and the mic. We don't need all the mouth sounds. It's a bit too much.
I didn't get much mouth sounds. It's like kind of just a candid like conversation type piece going on.
Yeah, it's just a bit. Maybe it's because the Weeknd is so,
crisp.
Filtered. No, filtered, not crisp at all. That this really just sticks out pretty jarringly as the microphone is touching his bottom lip and we can hear his tongue flapping around in his mouth.
Sam, old men just make mouth sounds when they talk.
That's true. That's a good point.
One day you will be old man. It'll be nothing but lip smacks.
Jump into track number 7 then.
Yes, it leads right into track number 7 with a smooth transition, like butter. Right into track number 7, Out of Time.
Right into the elevator song.
No, Sam, no, don't not like this song.
What? You're getting on me for not liking the easy listening music?
This is heavily inspired. It's actually using sampling from a a city pop song by Tomoko Aran, who received songwriting credits on the song. So it's this 1983 song called Midnight Pretenders.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially it's like taking this interesting fusion of Japanese city pop and kind of, the Weeknd's more traditional R&B electro sounds and kind of blending them into this like really easygoing, super smooth R&B city pop, smoothie.
I thought I was in an elevator.
Ah, no. This is not music.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me.
It's got great vocalization from The Weeknd. It's got that little flute embellishments on the original song. And I think if you're talking about range, I think he jumps up and down on this song.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this. It wasn't bad. It was just it was easy listening music.
It was not music. I'm gonna have to hard disagree with you on this one.
Well, that's why we all have our own opinions, Cooper.
That's fair. I mean, I'm a huge city pop fan myself. I think what Abel was able to do here with kind of merging his sound with the city pop, I think is just too good.
I think I just don't have the appreciation for city pop that you do. Because I mean, I've listened to maybe some, but you might have to send me an example so I can.
Oh yeah, I'll send you some over. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard hitting. It's certainly like putting this up next to like Gasoline is a little bit jarring. Which I'm glad is why there's some songs between them.
Than Gasoline.
Oh yeah, I certainly agree. I mean, Gasoline had some character, but I think this one with its fits Abel's singing style a lot better.
Yeah. Jump into track number 8 if you're ready.
Yes, track number 8. Oh, of course, we do have to mention the song ends with a little bit of Jim Carrey. That leads into the next song. Mm-hmm. It's basically him saying it's the halfway point as you go that little light in the distance.
And he does say it's easy listening music. So.
Oh yeah, just easy on the ears doesn't mean it's elevator music.
But track number 8 is Here We Go Again, featuring Tyler, the Creator.
Yes. This is some of the lyrics on this song are a bit much.
Yeah.
That decline with like the cheering sound effect afterwards is cheesy as hell.
Yeah. There's 2 bars of backing track with the same vocal melody until Tyler, the Creator, comes in, which kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And I wasn't even paying attention at this point. I was looking up music on Wikipedia, and I heard that while not paying attention. So that's how I know it really sticks out like a sore thumb. And then there's the real big crispness difference between vocal tracks as well. Because The Weeknd kind of has that breathy, airy, ethereal style.
Yes.
And Tyler, the Creator, comes in again with
Tyler is a bassy boy.
The microphone in his mouth, and they're just not doing any transition between that at all. It's like, why do they have to be so crisp that we can hear their thoughts?
I mean, I'm a big Tyler fan, but I don't think this was a super good feature on his part.
He also ran Clean Up with itself 3 times, which is a sin.
That was a repeating bar.
Still Cardinal Sin. He's going to hell for it.
That's what this album's about, Sam.
I thought you said this was about purgatory.
Oh, okay. Same difference, in a way. No, not really. But like, I will give it credit at that 145 mark. The little vocal lick where it's going up and down. Ooh, that's a good vocal line. But yeah, I'll say this Tyler feature wasn't super great. Super short. It doesn't really add anything to the song. Like you said, the song really wasn't made for his kind of rapping style. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so airy and like ethereal, and then he just comes in like with his bassy ass vocals.
Yeah, and it doesn't also help that The Weeknd's trying to do. It sounds like he's rapping, kind of, but again, that doesn't fit his style. So you've got these two vocal styles that are kind of clashing that don't even go with themselves.
Rapping on this song?
Yeah. He's doing kind of like a spoken word thing.
I mean, he's doing like a falsetto thing.
Well, he's falsetto, but he doesn't have the same cadence that he was carrying. It almost doesn't sound like singing to me.
Disagree on that one. I mean, it's pretty clearly singing.
Maybe I'm
I mean, there's a greater focus on his vocals on this song than maybe some of the other songs.
I'm probably thinking of the Lil Wayne song, actually.
Oh yeah, that comes later. We'll also talk about that.
That's probably what I'm thinking of, actually.
Yeah, but I think this is a bit of a wasted feature, honestly.
Yeah, it would fit better if it was. I don't know. It just kind of fell flat.
So, oh well. We go into track number 9, "Best Friends," which starts with like this really powerful, like plinging synth bass, with The Weeknd's kind of airy vocals floating underneath it or over it.
This is the beginning of the block of I can't tell these songs apart.
Yeah, a couple of the songs in the back half get samey.
They also have the same theme even, which is ridiculous. Like if you listen to the lyrics, it's the
this is the horny block.
Yeah, it's like you just wrote the same song 3 or 4 different times. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah, this one, this is kind of why I disagree. Like with your saying, like some of the earlier songs don't go anywhere. I think they have some good song progression. This one, though, I think I can agree where it feels like it's supposed to be. It's going to hit something.
Yeah,
and then just does not do that.
I thought it was just. The only thing I have written down was this song anything other than chorus?
No, it was just kind of like synth and a beat pad.
Yeah.
This one didn't really. This was like the one song I really didn't care for the production of. I mean, I guess it has like a little bit of a lead into the next song.
Yeah.
I mean, I always appreciate a nice transition, but that you could have applied that to any song.
Yeah. That's just something you'd tack on.
So that's a production choice, but yeah, this song as itself, I just do not really care for.
Jump to track number 10 then, if you're ready to just quickly move on.
Yeah, we can get past Best Friends. Track number 10 is There's Someone Else, which this one's not the last one. I mean, it's got like this little more smoother groove underneath with these kind of distant chipmunk vocals going on and these synth plinks and plunks.
Yeah, I really like the intro and outro with that higher vocals and the synth. It's just what happens in the middle that I'm not the biggest fan of.
What kind of the verse with the spacey synth going on?
Yeah, it's like it's like a seed for a really strong, good song, but it just doesn't really do much with it. Like specifically, the instrumental. There's not much variation. It's pretty samey. It has the really good intro that hooks you in. The vocals are, granted, this is basing it off of Best Friends. The vocals sound identical between the songs. And the subject of the lyrics are ridiculously similar as well. So it just kind of feels lazy. But then at the end, you get all this fun synth and stuff happening in the outro. that it's like, why you're fading away while you do this? Why didn't you put any of that in the actual song when you'd want to listen to it, right?
Yeah, no, I'm mostly in agreement with you on this one. I mean, I think the intro and outros were the strongest part of the song. Mm-hmm. With the middle being not like bad, but definitely not like anything that's popping out at you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad song. It just is kind of lazy.
It's got that B-side quality, you know?
You baked some nice focaccia bread, and then you just put deli, like the cheap bologna.
Yeah, like it gets the job done.
Not even name brand bologna, just like generic bologna.
Kroger bologna.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a sandwich, I guess, but you put all this effort on the ends. Why didn't you put anything in the middle?
Yeah, and it leads right into the next song, track number 11, Starry Eyes. To the point that if you're not paying attention, you'd probably think it was the same song. Because it kind of maintains that low-key energy that's kind of been throughout Best Friends, and is there someone else in Starry Eyes?
Yeah. There's some really nice pulsing synth right at the start of this one in the background that gives some really good depth to the song, and then immediately leaves and never comes back. I don't know what it was with this one. It just felt the vocals and the backing track felt uncoupled. They didn't feel like they went together at all.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's been doing this vocal styling on this kind of spacey synth throughout the album.
But there was just something about this one specifically. I think it's the fact that the space between the sustained notes is so drastic that they just kind of uncouple from each other. And he's just been... It's like somebody put some music on the background and he just sang these past 3 songs, straight through. It just feels like a half-made song, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's almost like I do agree with you to some extent on like a couple of these like these kind of like triplets of songs where it's kind of like they flow together nicely, which is good. But it's kind of like if you take one idea and stretch it too far, then it makes the individual songs kind of suffer.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the bass added near the end as it kind of leads into the next track on the album. If you have anything else to say, Sam.
Nope. We can move on to track number 12, Slow Jerk-Off Motion, the song. Sorry, yeah. Every Angel
is Terrifying. Yeah, this song is, I guess it's hard to call it a song proper. Because I actually really like the intro to it. This kind of explosive synth start.
I like everything up until the vocals come in.
Yeah, where it goes into this like spoken word passage
with people clapping,
but not a Jim Carrey spoken word passage.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, slow jerk off motion. The song. It's what an art student would make their first year when they thought they were so sophisticated and better than everyone else, And then the second half is a write off because it's just the radio ad thing.
I did think that was a little funny.
Yeah, I like it. It's just. I don't count this as a song.
Yeah, the radio ad sketch, like on the back half of this song, is pretty tongue-in-cheek of basically being like, the afterlife's going to make your current life look like it sucks. Like it's a commercial for basically death.
Yeah. No, I like the commercial, and it's got really good backing music. But the first half is just... Oof.
Yeah, honestly, you could do away with the first half of this song. I don't think it adds anything that Jim Carrey hasn't already done and will do later in this album.
Yeah. And it's just there's the people in the background as well, which I really dislike. Like
every time people clap on this album, I don't like it.
Doing slam poetry, it's just stupid.
So yeah, first half of this song I don't really get, but I like the second half. And if we could just cut that out and just keep this little ad break, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, the ad break I like the ad break. Jumping to track number 13 then.
Yes, track number 13.
Don't break my heart.
Don't break my heart. My achy, breaky heart. No, it's not that song.
Different song. Man, this is the point. It's like, dude can't decide between doing an album experience and just shotgunning random songs all over the album. There was zero gap between Every Angel is Terrifying and Don't Break My Heart. Like, just put if you're not fading, put just the tiniest amount of blank space because it is instantaneous.
pretty fast. I almost took it as like kind of like in a literal like radio show sense. Like it just goes straight from radio commercial to song.
Yeah, I mean, you could use that excuse. That's an option.
And since I like this album, I will.
I think it just you need a bit of breathing room. He had no problem putting a fucking minute and a half of breathing in an earlier song.
Literally.
So just put a little, I'm not asking for much. I'm asking for like half a second. That's all I want.
It's a quick decision, but I think the song itself stands.
Yeah, it breaks the no more than 2 instruments in the first half of the song rule.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of build going on. I like the strong bass line throughout it. There's like this beat switch at the 2:20 mark. I think is pretty fun, and then like it's just a dropout, which is bass and vocals, and then it kind of goes back into it.
Yeah, no, it's a fine. The only thing I don't believe about this is that anyone actually uses the word discotheque. I don't think anyone uses that except for Introduction to French teachers. Nobody uses that word. Just say
you've never been to Europe. They love the discotheque over there.
I don't think that's, again, I think it's because we're using Introduction to the language books from the 80s and they haven't been updated since.
Also, I do like the little outro where it's like, don't you. I mean, I've appreciated the consistent production throughout this album.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
And I will. And we can jump to track number 14, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I Heard You're Married, featuring the one and only Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Lil Wayne? Other than fucking everybody on the planet. This is terrible. Zero gap, and Lil Wayne's in it. So I just tuned out because dude sings like a brick in a washing machine.
It's fair. He's on a very small part of this song.
Still,
but yeah, it's not a good feature. Both features on this album are very forgettable.
Tyler the Creator's was better than this, though. But that's
definitely
he can actually perform.
Yeah, not a super fan of Wayne's. He basically has zero impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been a big Lil Wayne fan to begin with, honestly.
No.
Like I've heard of features that work well. But like his whole vibe is very counterintuitive to this song, or to the album as a whole. Honestly,
yeah, I mean, I'm no prude to autotune, but his is just bad. He uses like the old style autotune,
the robot autotune.
Yeah, like when you T-Pain and Lil Wayne, those kind of autotunes.
But T-Pain can sing.
T-Pain can actually sing. Yeah, that's the difference. I still am not a fan of his autotune style, but at least he can hit the notes. This is just that auto-tune with lack of singing skill. Not a fan.
Yeah, I guess the nice thing is that these features are like gone so fast that like at least they don't absorb a large chunk of the song.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate this one has more of the kind of guitar funk, almost the city pop vibes that kind of carry over from Out of Time. Though a little more subtle on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got my notes mixed up. This is the one with the beat switch at the 2:20 mark with the dropout.
Okay.
Then leading into the actual Lil Wayne. But
yeah, not great. Jump to track 15 if you're ready, Coop.
Track number 15, Less Than Zero.
And let me tell you, this one came out of left field for me.
Oh?
It's got a really fun backing track. The vocals don't feel like they sing too much, but it gets better as time goes on. Once that first chorus hits with the piano reverb, it feels like they finally like lock in and stick to the rest of the song.
Yeah, this one's not to play our hands, but this is the last proper song in the album.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the next one's not a song, so.
But yeah, it's spoken word. But yeah, it's got almost like a more of a kind of an indie vibe with the acoustic guitar backing.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of loses that dark techno edge that most of the albums had. It's a little more glistening and light. Yeah,
it's a lot brighter, more poppy. It's got a really nice melodic sting that gets me. I think that's what's it. And it's faster as well. There's not been much tempo change I felt throughout the album. I mean, there's been some, but with the elongated synth, that's kind of hard to tell. It's stuck to the same kind of maybe 20 BPM range the entire time, but this one feels faster. And I don't know, it something about it. I'm not a big fan of the straight acoustic at the end. It kind of clashes with the vibe of the song. But
slightly, but I almost see this like given it's the like end of the album. I guess thematically, it's almost like the light breaking through the clouds moment.
Yeah, but I actually really like this one.
Yeah. Also, I really dig the chorus.
Yeah,
it's like this danceable, fun feeling, but it's also the vocals carry like almost a certain sadness to them, which I like.
And then jump to track number 16.
Yeah, I think Less Than Zero is a great album closer, and then track number 16, I think, is kind of the thematic closer of the album, which is Mr. James Carey himself, leading you into the afterlife. I wrote as a note as the sequel to Bruce Almighty that we all needed.
Yeah, I was pretty much just responding to his rantings in this one. He made some reference to "you're stuck here forever" or whatever. I said, "It's been an hour, Jim. If I'm stuck here forever, I'll be dead."
Oh, 52 minutes.
Yeah, whatever. The rhyming got a bit aggressive. There's a little bit too much artistic jerk off on a lot of the songs on the album, like this one. But you walk a fine line of doing a theme and just making some artistic wank, right?
You know, maybe the message is a bit on the nose. You gotta make heaven to go to heaven, right?
Yeah.
Or essentially, you know, heaven's what you make it. Is the theme basically.
I think I could have forgiven this one if there hadn't been that angel one earlier.
Yeah, I mean that one I think was the worst example of the theme in the album, but this one I think works.
Yeah,
because I mean Jim was at the beginning of the album. He like popped it a little in the middle section, and then here is to close it out.
Yeah.
You know, good things come in threes. And I do like Jim's delivery on this.
Yeah. Yeah. He sounds exactly like a radio DJ.
Yeah, but it's like exactly, but also it's somehow both like, you know, you've got that connection of like, you know, this sounds like something you've heard 100 times before, but it's kind of almost kind of whispery, transcendent delivery makes it feel like it's like, you know, there's something else behind it, which obviously there is.
You've heard it a million times, but there's something there that's just a little disconcerting.
Yeah, and it's got nice little, obviously synth instrumentation behind it. Kind of ties a nice bow on the whole story of the album.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what he was trying to do with the album. I guess we can get on to them. Let me get rid of the song track.
I will say one last note. I just like while listening to the song, when Jim talked for like 3 minutes, I just like to imagine like, you know, a camera close up of like Jim Carrey's face. He's doing like a little smirk. He's kind of got like this starry eyes looking at the camera, and then it just switches back. It's like just the album art of this all just like looking at him like, can I die now?
That'd be good.
But sorry, what were you saying, Sam?
Oh, I was just saying, like, I like the concept of the album. It just feels like he didn't commit, right? Like, I get that you get a lot of different songs on the radio, but there was really no, I don't know. In my mind, concept albums, you have those transitions, right? If you don't have the transitions, what differentiates it from any other album? And he did like half and half. So he did do some transitions. But then when he didn't do the transitions, it made it even more obvious because he did do transitions occasionally. So I think he just commits to certain transitions. It doesn't even have to be much, just a little bit, even just a fade. But there's a lot of those harsh cuts in there, which kind of just ruin the vibe for me. I get that, if you're listening to the radio, they don't do that. But yeah, it's supposed to be an album experience, though, right? It doesn't have to be the exact experience of listening to the radio. Otherwise, halfway through, we would have gotten a 10-minute ad break for fucking window blinds. So I don't know. It just it feels like there was a lot of potential that got wasted on this album, in my opinion.
Delivers on most of its potential. I think you're right. There could have been some better transitions. And, you know, the Ever Angels is terrifying bit kind of overplayed its hand.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, the album keeps a very consistent tone. I think compares well with its kind of purgatory storyline.
Yeah, well,
so
the consistent tone, same songs. Yeah.
The songs differentiate themselves pretty well. I mean, definitely in the B sides, there's a couple that kind of blend together. But there's a lot of catchy hooks on this album.
Yeah,
I think a lot of great production that kind of obviously is heavily inspired by the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna have a DJ to the afterlife, might as well be Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I can't argue with that point. So you want to do favorite songs first, or do you want to do?
Yeah, sure. You can start with favorite songs. How about you, Sam? I think I know what your answer is, but
what do you think my favorite song is?
I'd assume Less Than Zero.
You would be correct. Yeah, I don't know why. It was just when I was listening to it, it felt like the second actual song on the album. I don't know why. They're clearly real songs. I think it's just that they all get a little. You mix them into that pot, they get a little bit too samey. And Less Than Zero and Take My Breath were the two that really stood out to me. I can see why Take My Breath rose to so as high as it did. Still, I don't think it's wonderful, but those two are definitely the best songs on the album, in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Less Than Zero. I also want to throw in Out of Time as my favorite song of the album. That's the city pop influences are fantastic. The mixture of the production of R&B and city pop, I think, goes over just swimmingly. And I'm a sucker for Abel's vocal stylings. So I think it just kind of has a whole package right there in that song.
Well, I'll keep an eye out for it whenever I get into elevators and let you know when I hear it.
It's not an elevator song. I feel just because something isn't like grating on the ears. You like good sounding music, Sam?
Yes, I do. I don't know. There was just something about it that just felt very mass consumption, easy listening kind of thing.
You hurt me, Sam. You hurt me.
I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't pick up on the nuances. It's just my take on it.
I thought it had some great production.
It's also possible that I was a little bit tuned out after Sacrifice.
It's the fifth song.
But what about, let's hear, what's your least favorite, Cooper?
Least favorite probably going to have to be Best Friends. I think where that kind of falls in the trap that you've been saying throughout the album, where it's like the instrumentation is a little too scarce. There's no build up. The lyrics are kind of garbo. If this song was gone, I don't think there'd be anything much missing from the album.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst offenders. I really did not like Best Friends, obviously. I also really didn't like I Heard You Were Married. I also really didn't like Gasoline or How Do I Make You Love Me. Those together definitely. How Do I Make You Love Me might be the worst offender in my opinion. I think it's just because I think I'm the harshest on the ones that I like, because I really enjoyed this song until those skips. But it's definitely not the worst. It's just like, oh man, come on, like you're so close, right? Just the skips really killed it for me. But either Best Friends or the Lil Wayne song were probably the worst.
Well, agree to disagree.
But Gasoline's definitely number 2. Really dislike Gasoline.
You just have to listen to it a dozen more times, Sam, and then you'll get.
I don't think anything's going to make that accent better for me, Cooper.
And you'll realize you're like, oh man, I wish I was a goth in high school.
No, what? Cooper, I was in marching band. I'm about as far away from.
Exactly, you're anti-goth.
I was a step below theater kid.
All right, well, we're at the end of the album, and this is where we decide to rate the album.
Yeah.
So Sam, would you like to give a little overview of the rating system that we have here at the Audio Shop?
Sure. So here at the Audio Shop, Cooper and I both have Carsonas, which is, you ever heard of the movie Cars, and then Cars 2 and Cars 3? Basically, it's you make a character for yourself and put yourself into that universe. You race alongside Lightning McQueen. So to say. Cooper is a small Mini Coupe, obviously, with white wall tires and a nice turquoise blue finish. And I am a beat up pickup truck with a deep red finish and a couple of
without the tuh.
Yeah. And to reflect on that, we decided to make the podcast car themed, and thus the rating system car themed. So we've got Showroom, 5 out of 5, Cream of the Crop, Best of the Best. This, you'll shout it from the rooftops. It was that good of an album. And then all the way at the bottom, you got Scrapyard, 1 out of 5, Terrible, Smash into a Cube, Bury It in the Ground, Put Warning Signs. You don't want to listen to this album. It's not very good. And then everything in between, high, low, and of course everything changes depending on how we feel that day. So Cooper, what would you rate this album?
I'm going to give this album a like new.
Wow.
I think I've been pretty clear that I enjoy this album.
Mm-hmm.
A couple songs you could do without. And maybe the theme isn't, carry through the entire album in like the most satisfactory way. But I think this is leagues above After Hours in terms of kind of committing to that 80s sound, having some great production. I think making some interesting song choices and committing to a sound without it like getting too samey. I probably could have cut down on a couple minutes, and no means a perfect album, but I really enjoy this project from The Weeknd, and I'm looking forward to see how he rounds out the trilogy with his next album. Excuse me. How about you, Sam? How would you rate this album?
I gave it a used rental. It's got a lot of potential, but the fact that it's built as an album experience and feels very samey throughout kind of makes it not an album experience. I think I could tolerate the songs if I heard one come on the radio, but sitting down and listening to it all the way through, not made for that. Just a lot of things that didn't do very well. Like I said, I touched on it briefly there. He's got a rule of no more than 2 instruments in the first half of a song in a lot of them. Just sparse and samey and not very good.
Well, we disagree sometimes, Sam, but that's part of the fun.
And it's weird because I really like that vaporwave 80s aesthetic. I just don't like the way he does it. I really don't like the way he does it. There's just something about it.
It's because he's got an old man as the album art, right?
Yep, that's
he's just looking right. Every time you listen to the song, he's just staring right into your
old
soul.
People, that's why. No, I don't know. I really wanted to like it. There's some songs in there that have like the like "How Do I Make You Love Me." Would have loved that song. It's just he just makes some artistic choices that are absolute bullshit and not very good.
Well, not everyone agrees on everything.
Yeah, I mean, art is very subjective, and to some people that might be the best thing ever. It's just, I want it to be the way I want it to be. So, but I'm glad you liked it. I wish I liked it, because I really liked The Weeknd, but...
Huh. I guess this one was more like the weekdays, am I right?
Wayo. Yeah, I really should like it. I don't know why I don't.
Hey, you gotta be true to your heart.
Yeah, I really wanted to like it.
Hey, maybe third time will be the charm.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not no angels in that one. Well, that was the show. And now we're going to roll on over to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to for the past 2-3 weeks. How long has it been? We didn't do used rental the last one, so 3 months.
It's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks.
I'll shock everyone to tell you that I've been listening to ELO, but I've been also listening to quite a bit of the Beatles and some Led Zeppelin, and that's pretty much it, I think. On vacation I didn't listen to a lot of music because I was with my family, so I haven't listened to a ton. Listened to a bit of Childish Gambino to cleanse my palate after finishing Dawn FM, because it just popped up and I'm like, you know what, I do need a palate cleanser, let me listen to some of that. Doing some America, just
good album.
My staples.
Your staple foods. Yeah. The meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Doing a lot of early ELO as well. I've been into that recently. Back into the orchestral phase. What about you, Coop?
I've been listening to a lot of I like to I get fixated on certain artists.
Mm-hmm.
I just like listening to their whole back catalog. I mean, I listened to a Boys Age album, the new FKA Twigs album came out, and I thought that was pretty good. New Punch Brothers album, which is like very banjo heavy music. If you're ever in the mood for that, Sam. But I've been listening mostly to a bunch of Hiromi Hosono.
Man, I don't know any of the artists that you've listed.
Hiromi Hosono, he was the lead singer of Yellow Magic Orchestra, which is this kind of Japanese like electronic band. They've been called the ELO of Japan, Sam.
I'm gonna add this to my list.
Where they were like they were basically like the face of like electronics in Japan in like the 70s. So
70s electronic.
Yes.
Japan.
Yes.
No, this is ticking a lot of boxes.
Yes, I quite like their music. And he was the lead, and he had a long career. I mean, he's still alive. He's still making music. So I've been listening through his back catalog. It goes some interesting places. Or like his first albums in like the 60s and 70s were like almost like island music, like kind of very tropical, easy listening. And then he gets into the electro in like the 70s, and then like the 80s, he goes like this weird, like atmospheric, almost like noise wave route with his electronics.
Yukihiro.
Then he disappears for a decade, and then he came back with like making like almost like like southern country music.
What the heck?
This man's jumped all over the place.
You said it's Yukihiro.
Sorry, what was that?
Who's the artist you're talking about again?
Oh, his name's Hiromi Hosono or Hosono.
He's on all the separate artists are on the page for Yellow Magic Orchestra.
Yeah, so Hosono. He's had quite a few albums, so yeah. So this it's been a trip going through his discography. This man clearly, I mean, basically, won the lottery in the 70s, and he's been doing what he wants since then.
Hey, I mean,
which I can respect.
If you can do that, you can do that. Daniel Radcliffe did the same thing after Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you make your money early, and then you just get weird with it.
Yeah.
Which, hey, I mean, I can mad respect that.
Yeah. I'll have to check some of this out. I want to listen to some more jazz. I've not been listening to my jazz recently.
You like jazz?
Into Cassiopeia's discography, I think.
Hey, I do like their stuff.
I've listened to most of their albums, I think, but I think there's a few that I need to mop up yet because all their stuff's good. All right,
I agree.
That's the show for this week. If you've liked what you've heard and you want to hear more, you can scroll down on the Twitch page. There's a picture of Jeff Lynne. It says archive on YouTube above. You click there, it'll take you to all our past episodes, minus one unfortunate super tramp that got lost to the passage of time. And if you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us live, you can go on over to the description box, and there's a link to the Twitch. And 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, we do the show. Usually, we really try to. And if you got a suggestion, you can put it in the suggestion box. We haven't touched it for about a year now, so don't expect it to happen quick. But sometimes we go down there.
Honestly, I feel like our next one should be dive into the suggestion box.
You say
I think we're well overdue.
There's Moondance by Van Morrison, which might be good. Or we could do American Idiot by Green Day and bring a guest on. We haven't done a guest episode in probably... We didn't do any last year. The last time we did one was probably 2020.
Yeah, so have a nice guest episode going on.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. And what about the Twitter, Cooper? How can people find us on Twitter?
Well, they can find us at twitter.com at audioshop pod. I keep getting tripped up since we changed the tag.
Yeah, it's a little more professional than 14, but
there's 13 other audio shops.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know what we're listening to when we're listening to it, and drop us a follow there.
But thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
A little shop talk, Cooper, before we end it. I think this is going to be our year. I think this is it, I think we'll finally reach that 10 follower range.
Double digits, baby. 2022, here we come.
Yeah. I mean, we've only been doing this for what? We're coming up on 3 years now.
Hey, they say there's no good stuff before the 3-year mark.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll really end it now. So, see you later.
See ya.